A trombone relies on 9 feet of brass tubing to make its music. And all that tubing must be smooth and perfectly crafted. Because even the slightest imperfection will ruin the sound. Most trombones are made of yellow brass, a mix of copper and zinc, because that particular alloy vibrates at the right frequencies to produce the best sounds. It's also so soft, a wooden mallet and mandrel are all it takes to form this piece of yellow brass into the stem of the trombone, which connects the bell-shaped flare to the rest of the horn. A torch solders the seams together. And then a hydraulic seam roller uses 2 tons of pressure to even out the seams. But the pressure flattens the soft brass stem. So it's back to the mandrel for more shaping. Then, the stem is finally ready to solder to the bell-shaped flare to make what horn players call the bell of the horn. Once the solder has set, the bell needs more smoothing and shaping. So a worker places it in a lathe and uses a wooden paddle to smooth out the seam line between the flare and the stem. Then, he switches to a steel rod to further mold the soft brass into a wider bell shape, which helps create the rich tone of the trombone. Finally, the worker places the wire bead around the rim of the flare to add strength and create a more consistent sound. The rest of the trombone is made from brass tubing, which gets stretched through a die to just the right length. The brass stretches easily because it's so soft. And stretching tubing like this is better for the trombone than soldering several pieces of tubing together, because the fewer the seams, the better the sound. But now all that tubing needs to be bent into the curves of the trombone without crushing the tubes. One innovative solution: fill the tubing with soapy water and then freeze it. The frozen water inside literally freezes the integrity of the tube in place, so it can be bent around a U-shaped block without crushing it. This particular bend forms the tuning bow that connects the bell stem to the rest of the trombone. Another creative solution restores the opening in another piece of tubing after it's already been bent. It's done using a simple yet ingenious tool called a ball press. A worker places a steel ball that's the correct diameter into the bent piece of tubing. Smaller balls follow to force the first ball all the way through. The width of the larger ball stretches the soft brass tubing back to its original diameter as the press forces it through the tube. And that's important because this piece of tubing is part of the outer slide. And if it's not perfect, it could distort the sound waves and cause the trombone to play out of tune. When all of the pieces are ready, a worker solders the pieces of tubing together into the slides. And here too, any flaws in the fit or seams could ruin the sound. When everything is assembled, a buffing wheel and some iron oxide polishes the brass. A straightening plate checks the alignment of the slide. It has to be straight and parallel to play properly. And finally, the outer and inner slides come together, and the tuning bow is joined to the bell. And just 6 hours after work began, this trombone is ready to play.